So yeah, and I think sometimes industry people may not know that how little support is there for professors to do the thing
Hmm.
do every day, and they do
Hmm.
have people on every aspect that can help you with things, right? So, um, what was the most helpful and the least helpful thing for you throughout this process?
I really, this pains me to say because I'm an introvert and I do a great job of networking, but really, it's networking is really was the most helpful thing. In the end, it was talking to people and pushing myself to talk to even
Yeah,
sort of
reaching out to
to
people.
use social network language like weaker ties, but just to get a feel for what was available and what might be helpful or not, and to talk to people. And I learned every little thing I learned, even if I didn't have an application go through or didn't get the next stage of an interview, I think really helped. I think the other hard thing is if you've decided you aren't a great fit for academia, but you don't know what to do. There are a million different types of jobs in industry. And I do know people who have had hired like sort of coaches to help them or use some of these consultants, and they found them very useful. And
Yeah.
if I hadn't gotten this job at Cook Medical, I would have done that because I was at the point where I would go into LinkedIn and be like, oh, I could do that. Oh, that would be cool. And that was just too many different directions while doing my normal job. And that would feel really stressful. So I think the least helpful thing is just going into LinkedIn and typing researcher because a million things pop up, or and so trying to figure out first, like, what do you value? What are you kind of looking for? And then talking to people, and they can very quickly help you figure out, like, oh, this org would be a good fit or not, versus just getting like the fire hose of LinkedIn or whatever other resource you have. And one other thing that I will say is not super helpful. I do like the some of these groups that are people trying to transition from academia or PhDs to industry. I'll see the posts and people, this happens in every field and it happens within academia a lot too. When we have students going on the job market, you'll have someone who say, don't do that in your presentation, that's wrong. And I'll be like, why is that wrong? It's because they had some experience interviewing 20 years ago at a different university that has scarred them. And that just to remember that it's all context dependent. And so you'll see these personal testimonies about, well, you should never do this to get into industry. That's not necessarily true. That was their experience. And it is helpful, sort of the flip side of the networking. But especially when you're reading other people who you don't know and they don't know you, just keep in mind that it's not the same everywhere. And it's not going to be the same experience.